morning, students. My name is M.S. Somshekar from Nilamika Girls High School, Sirigere. Today, I will continue the lesson in the 4th unit of 10th standard English, that is Dr. B.R. Ambedkar. In the previous classes, we learned much about the B.R. Ambedkar. We knew, so it is a commemorative volume written by many authors. So one of the author who wrote an article for this book, Dr. B.R. Ambedkar, A Man and His Message by R. Venkatraman, has prescribed as a lesson for you. Here we learned that the quality, a great quality of Ambedkar was he was a voracious reader. In the next class, in the next paragraph, we learned that he was greatly influenced by the two things. One was the 14th Amendment of USA, which gave freedom to the black Americans, and work of Mahatma Phule, and work of life and work of Mahatma Phule also greatly influenced on Ambedkar. Because of these two influences, he decided to dedicate all his life and time for the upliftment of his underprivileged brother. So for that he has started newspapers and also some institutions he has started. Through this, he wanted to make a big change in the Indian society. Baba Sahib Ambedkar was elected to local assembly and made a great contribution in the debate. So it became the whole evident to the whole nation. And because of his skills and his intelligence in the field of law, the government of India offered him to work in the committee of the constitution making. And not only member but also made him as the chairman. As a drafting committee, he made his job very wonderfully, being the pilot of the team. And he clearly explained to the constitution to the assembly what is the meaning, scope of each and every article in the constitution. He also defines the fundamental rights, what is the constitution, what are the three articles of the constitution, how they are to mutually cooperate each other in the organization, they also explained. And also we learned that Nehru, the first Prime Minister of India, chose Ambedkar as the first law minister. Why did he choose him? Because his skill in the law and in the vision of social justice and his fight against the social injustice. Because of all these reasons, he was made as the law minister of India. So even after all these supports from the constitution, much to be achieved, not much achieved. I have achieved something, but not completely. Because from the last 4 decades, there are some instances the people are not withstanding the statute book, which means law book, because they have seen some several disobey of these law book. Yet remain to be done to achieve the social plane. So Ambedkar stressed the importance of the constitutional methods to achieve the social objectives. He always stressed constitutional method is the best method to achieve our social objectives. So in the previously what we are doing to achieve these things, we have took satyagraha, non-cooperation. These are all, we want to say, they are called grammar of anarchy. Disobedience, non-cooperation and satyagraha were called as grammar of anarchy because the public agitation was right to fight against the alien power or to fight against the dictatorship, but not in the democratic policy. That's why constitutional method is the best policy to achieve the social objectives. Yes, clearly told. So, if we continue those methods, what will be the result of that will be? There will be loss of life of so many people and loss to the public property. So we should not make such kind of loss. That is the loss of the life or loss of the public property. So we should follow constitutional method to achieve our social objectives. The next, I will continue. The next, look at the next paragraph. About 2500 years ago, Buddha has questioned the caste divisions in India. He said, the only valid divisions are divisions between those who are noble and wholesome and those who are ignoble and unwholesome. The same way, the Tamil poetess Avai has said, similarly, there are only two castes in the world, namely charitable, who give are superior, and the misers who do not are therefore inferior. Throughout the course of Indian history, great sages, saints, exposed the hollowness of these divisions and sought to bring all the communities of India together in creative partnership. But caste, virtue of its power structure, showed itself to be firmly entrenched. This caste system, this caste discrimination was not new to India. It was there, this system was there in India long ago. A centuries before, this kind of a system was existed in India. 2500 years ago, not a century, 2500 years ago. 2500 years ago, Buddha questioned. Gautama Buddha, I don't know, he was lived before Christ. Who questioned this system? The caste system. Questioned the caste divisions in India. He said, Buddha said, caste divisions is not good for society. We are all human beings. He questioned this method, this caste division in India 2500 years ago. And he said, only valid divisions are, we can just, if you want to make a divisions among the people, you can do only two divisions. They are valid divisions. They are noble and wholesome. One category was noble. So people who are noble, who have a great character, they are wholesome. They are whole people. So another category you can make. There are some people in the society, they are ignoble. They are not good in their character. So therefore unwholesome. Like this, on the basis of the character, we can make two divisions. We should not make the divisions on the basis of the caste, because the caste becomes by born. That's why he said, if you want to divide people of the society into two divisions, you can only make two divisions. They are noble and wholesome, ignoble and unwholesome. On the basis of the character, if you make, everyone tries to become a noble person, and each and the whole country will become having a noble people. That's why he says, even before 2500 years ago, Buddha questioned this system, and also he made only two divisions we can make. They are noble and ignoble. Similarly, Tamil poetess was there. Her name was Avai. Avai was a Tamil poetess. She also similarly said that there are only two castes in the world. The poetess Avai told there are only two castes in the world. Which are they? Namely, charitable. Charitable is they can give whatever they want, we have to the other people. Charitably they give. They call in Kannada you can say udarigal. They can give udara. They are called charitable. Who give are superior because of this character of charitable. They are superior. So one more category we can make. They are misers. Misers means chipna. They do not give anything to others. Misers. So they are inferior. Understand? 2500 years ago, Buddha questioned his caste division, and he made only two divisions among in the society. One was the noble and wholesome people, another one was the ignoble and unwholesome people. In the same way, Tamil poetess Avai also made two divisions in the world. They are charitable, who give are superior. The other category, misers, who do not are inferior. Like this, we have made two categories. Therefore, in fair, throughout our course of Indian history, throughout our course of, if we take turn the pages of the Indian history, great sages, saints exposed, they explained to the people, hollowness of these divisions, hollowness of these hollowness. There is no strength among the people. There is no strength in the society because we have divided ourselves on the basis of the caste and religion. So we say, I am belong to this caste, I am belong to this caste. So it divides us. The word caste divides people among themselves. That's why in Indian history, so many great saints and sages explain, expose the hollowness. There is a hollowness in our society. They start to bring all communities of India together. They all worked, almost all the saints and sages worked to bring together all the communities together as one, but it was not possible. So, in a creative partnership, but caste by virtue of its power, caste by virtue of its quality. Caste has a great quality. This great bad quality structure showed itself to be firmly entrenched. Entrenched means, so all of us bear with it. The caste system is greatly entrenched. It has a deep root system in Indian society. So that's why you cannot remove it easily. See, this caste system was not new to India. It had been there from long ago, centuries before the system was there. Buddha questioned, Basaveshwara questioned, so many saints and sages questioned, the poets of Hawaii questioned. They wanted to make divisions on the character, but that was not successful. So many sages explained to the people, this is not good, this is a man-made system. Come out of that. They tried to make one. They wanted to bring all the people together, but it was not successful because the caste, by virtue of its quality, is greatly entrenched in our society. That's why, so the caste system could not be removed easily. But now, after independence, because of the Ambedkar's work in constitutional method, we have got little bit success. Really, we got much success by Ambedkar. Under the policy of divide and rule, the British rulers exaggerated the caste distinctions and divided the people of India further to strengthen their hegemony over us. It was given to great Indians of our time, Mahatma Gandhi and Dr. Baba Saheb Ambedkar, to repudiate caste and proclaim oneness of the Hindu community. Gandhiji did so by reminding the higher castes of their duty towards the depressed classes. Baba Saheb Ambedkar did the same by reminding them to their inherent rights to equality with other higher and more powerful castes. One stressed the duties, others stressed the rights together. They brought about veritable revolution in social thought. See, we were under the rule of British. So British wanted to extend their empire throughout India. So it was not so easy. So many kingdoms were there, so many rulers were there. There was no unity among themselves. That's why they are able to rule us for 150 years, nearly 150 years. When we got knowledge that we are under British rule, in our own country we are slaves, then the Indians started to fight against the British. So, to break our strength in our freedom fighting, British used the rule that is called divide and rule. Divide and rule. First they divided two communities, Hindus and Muslims. There are two big communities in India. They divided us on the basis of the religion. So you are Hindus, you are Muslims, you are Christians. Like this, they are divided on the basis of the religion. On the basis of the religion, we are easily divided. Even in Hindu society, we are further divided on the basis of the caste. British rulers exaggerated caste distinction. They easily divide ourselves into smaller groups on the basis of the caste. Divide people of India further to strengthen their hegemony. Hegemony is their power over us. So dividing us on the basis of the caste and religion, they got more and more power on us. It was given to great Indians of our time. So who are the great Indians of our time are the Mahatma Gandhi and Baba Saheb Ambedkar. Previously, so many great people worked to remove this caste system, but they were not successful. But in our time, the two great persons who worked in this directions were Mahatma Gandhi and Baba Saheb Ambedkar. To repudiate means refuse, remove caste system and proclaim oneness. And you have to feel oneness. We should all one in the Hindu community. So Gandhiji and Baba Saheb Ambedkar worked to repudiate caste system from India and to make oneness. We should all feel we are all one as a Hindu community. At least as a Hindu, we should feel one. But that was not successful. So they did their work. Gandhiji did so by Gandhiji did this work by reminding the higher caste, because Gandhiji belongs to higher caste. He reminded the higher caste people their inherent right, their duty. So Gandhiji told it is our duty. Higher caste people's duty was towards the depressed classes. It is our duty to uplift the low caste people. Gandhiji stressed remind the high castes to their duty. It is our duty. What was their duty? Their duty was to uplift the low castes, lower classes, depressed classes. Like this, Gandhiji went on explaining, telling, preaching to the people of the higher caste. He said, we should feel one among Hindu society. How should it come? First, we should give our first step in making oneness among all Hindu community. That's why the duty of the higher caste people is to we should make uplift the low depressed classes. The same way Baba Saheb Ambedkar also done. What he has did the same. What Gandhiji has made, he too did the same by reminding the low caste people about their inherent right. He said, it is your right. Gandhiji said, it is your duty to look after them equal. Baba Saheb said, it is your right, it is your inherent right. Janma Siddha Hakku. It is your right. What is your right? To equality with the higher and more powerful caste. Living equally with the higher and more powerful caste. It is your right. Get your right. Fight for your right. Like this, Gandhiji and Baba Saheb worked to make the society caste-less. For the great two people of our society, our time, or Mahatma Gandhiji and Baba Saheb. How Mahatma Gandhiji worked to make oneness among the people? He said, he stressed higher caste people, it was their duty to look after or uplift the depressed classes. The same way he too done. Ambedkar also done. He reminded the low caste people it was their inherent right to live equally with other higher and more powerful castes. One stressed the duties and others stressed the rights. Who stressed the duty? Yes, Mahatma Gandhiji stressed the duty of the higher class people. And who stressed the rights? Yes, Ambedkar stressed the rights of the depressed classes towards the higher classes. They brought about veritable revolution in social. Both together, they made a great revolution, a great change in social thought. At least by work of these two people, little bit progress have been achieved in social thought. Like this, Ambedkar and Gandhiji worked together to make difference between the caste and caste. So this great person who made a great social change, especially in caste discrimination, was passed away. This is very sad. He passed away in December 1956. He died. He was passed away on December 1956. So when he died, Jawaharlal Nehru, the Prime Minister of India, made a moving reference in Lok Sabha. So he made a reference in Lok Sabha, he gave a condolence speech in Lok Sabha, describing Baba Sahib as a symbol of revolt. He said, what did he say? Nehru said after Baba Sahib passed away in December 1956, in Lok Sabha he made a moving reference. He described Baba Sahib as a symbol of revolt. Symbol of revolt. Who was called symbol of revolt? Yes, Baba Sahib Ambedkar was termed as symbol of revolt. Who termed him so? Nehru termed him so. I have no doubt that whether we agreed with him or not in many matters, that perseverance, that persistence, and that, if I may use this word, sometimes virulence of his opposition to all this did keep the people's mind awake and did not allow them to become complacent about matters which could not be forgotten, and helped in rousing up those groups in our country which had suffered for so long in the past. It is therefore sad that such prominent champion of the oppressed and depressed India, one who took such an important part in our activities, has passed away. He said, he made a moving reference. He gave a condolence speech in Lok Sabha when Baba Sahib passed away. He said, I have no doubt, Nehru said, he had no doubt that whether we agreed with him or not in many matters, there may be some differences between the Nehru and Ambedkar in some matters, in many matters. So if there is a difference of opinion, but as a person they are very good, but in some matters they are divergent of opinions between the Nehru and Baba Sahib in some of the matter. That perseverance and persistence, and that, if I may use the word sometimes virulence, harmful of his opposition. So there is a persistence, perseverance, and that I may use the word, Nehru used the word sometimes, virulence is harmful of his opposition. It is harmful to oppose Ambedkar because Ambedkar was the right person to get the rights to the people who had not having rights for centuries. And all this did keep the people's mind awake and did not allow them to become complacent. It did not allow them to become complacent about matters which could not be forgotten. So what he has done for the country, what he has done for the society, what he has done in the constitution should not be forgotten. We should not forget about the matters, about the work done by the Dr. B.R. Ambedkar. Helped in rousing, he is the person who helped great in rousing up those groups. Whom did he help? He helped one group of the people in our country who had suffered for long in the past. For long centuries together they had suffered. Because of the caste distinction, they were suffered. He fought throughout his life. He worked throughout his life for the upliftment of those people in our society. They had suffered for a long time. So it is therefore for this purpose, because he was a prominent champion, a symbol of revolt, really is the person who worked for the rising of those underprivileged brother. For this work of Ambedkar, it is sad, it is very sad, because such prominent champion of the oppressed and depressed India, the people who have no any rights, they are under slavery, those peoples, for those people he has worked. Such champion of oppressed and depressed India, one who took such important part in our activities. He had also participated in our great activities of the development of the country. Such great champion has passed away. So in such a way, Nehru made a moving reference in Lok Sabha when Ambedkar passed away in 1956 December. He said he was the symbol of revolt. He said there may be differences between the opinions in some of the matters, but really he was a great leader to uplift or rise the who are in the depressed classes. That's why such a great champion was passed away. That's why he was very sad. There can be no doubt that the day is not far off. There's no doubt. It is very clearly you can say the day is not far off. It's not far away. Which date? Baba Saheb Ambedkar's dream. What was Baba Saheb Ambedkar's dream? Samata. Samata means equality will become reality. What was the Dr. Ambedkar's dream? Dr. Ambedkar's dream was Samata. Samata means equality among all the people of India. That dream will definitely come to realize. Come to really will be true. It will be true in a few days because he has made a great foundation for the equality of the all people of the India. So his dream of Samata will come true. In a few days, it is no doubt in it, definitely it will come true. I think you might have understood the lesson. Dr. B.R. Ambedkar, a great person. So throughout his life, how he has worked. So go through the lesson. So there is a little bit difficult in the lesson. So don't misunderstand. Read it again and again. So repeatedly read the text. So then go to the questions. And once again you read the text. Definitely you will get the answers and write in your notebooks. Thank you.